Hello, hello, and welcome. So
Hi.
grateful. So grateful to see you. Welcome.
Yes.
So I'm here with Jill Rodriguez. Jill is a brilliant energy healer, intuitive guide, facilitator. I've had the pleasure of knowing for, if you can believe it, almost 3 years, I believe, right? It's like
Yeah.
I remember I remember we were introduced through a dear sister of mine, April Fender, who is just another brilliant quantum healer, Reiki master, author, dear friend of mine from Maui. And I think, Jill, you can tell a little bit about that time in your life, maybe. But you came to me through April because you were looking for support in developing more of your intuitive gifts. And little did we know we would go on this legendary journey together, bringing us to this moment. So, if you can share a little bit about, what you can recall, what was life like for you at that time? And what kind of support were you seeking? What was going on? And how did we kind of start working together?
Oh boy, so much has changed since then. So back then I was teaching second grade and I've always enjoyed teaching. It's been my passion for so long, but I was also noticing kind of a longing for something else, something more.
Hmm.
Back then I was still married as well and also was starting to notice some issues in the marriage. So um, I went to April, actually, and got certified in teaching Reiki and learning Reiki. And I wanted to do it on myself. I wanted to learn how to do it for my kids. I ended up doing it on the dog, which was amazing. And I loved it. I loved doing Reiki with her. I mostly learned it to do it for myself and my family because I was going through a lot.
Hmm.
Wasn't sure if I would end up practicing it on other people at some point, but I knew I felt called to it. And then she was amazing. We had a great experience together. And once I completed level one, two, and three, and I was done with the practitioner training, I felt called to, um, I actually wanted guidance for myself. And I also wanted to kind of talk to her about, the feelings that I was having about wanting more in life and wanting something else. And so she recommended that I come and see you. And that was how I first came across you. And then you
Hmm.
gave me a reading, an Akashic Records reading, and I was like stunned and blown away by how accurate it was and how much it helped me. And so then I shared with you, I remember my urges to kind of make some changes and explore. And then I shared with you, I think at that time, some of the intuitive things that were coming in for me. And you recommended your training course.
Hmm.
And I ended up taking it and loving it. So, and the rest
Hmm.
is history.
And you actually were able to do the training twice. So first round with the beautiful intimate group, I remember that special time so well. And then a second time with a bigger group and a little bit more kind of incorporating more of the energy transmission work, just kind of, moving through the evolution of this work. And I'd love to hear your, I guess, celebrations and also just experience of maybe, speaking to someone who's maybe curious about what this work is and what the facilitator training really entails, what was it like for you? What were any surprises about the experience? And what did you come out of it with?
Ooh, well, I'm trying to think how I could sum it all up in a few words because it was just amazing, both rounds. So
Mm.
the first time I took it, you're right, it was an intimate group. There was only four of us, if you remember that. And we became so close. In fact, three out of the four of us are still in contact now regularly. We meet
Mm.
weekly via Zoom. And that was the biggest blessing I could imagine. These girls have been my support system. And our fourth girl in the group was amazing also. She just kind of went in a different
Mm.
direction, but
Mm.
we really bonded. And since you set up opportunities for us to meet with each other and practice on each other, we really bonded on a deep, deep level. So that was one of the most beautiful gifts that I got from that training.
Mm.
Also, boy, after the training is when I made so many life changes, just because I think I felt empowered. The training really opens your eyes to who you really are. And that's what I would say probably was the second greatest gift I got from that first training is it really made me tune into what do I want? Who am I? Instead of trying to be the people pleaser and trying to make sure everybody else was okay, I finally was able to tune in with myself and listen to myself and listen to my guidance. And that's when I realized I was really seeking more at that time and I wasn't really following my soul's purpose. So boy, after the training, I got divorced. I left my job and I ended up getting hired actually back in the schools, but through my own program, teaching kids breathing strategies, calming methods, yoga, meditation. And that was my true calling. And I had felt this stirring, but I didn't know what to do with it. And then through the training, I was able to tune in more with my guides, with my angels, with myself, with my soul. And then it made things very clear. So it really impacted me on a personal level. It affected really my whole life, my relationship, my work, my parenting. It affected everything. And then it also was great socially because I met these ladies that, like I said, are still dear friends of mine. Um, it was just beautiful. Um, so much so that I wanted to do it again a few years later. Just kind of like maybe a more elaborate or a little bit more advanced course, but
Mhm.
I really wanted to get back to the basics as well, because there was some things in there that really I use to this day. A beautiful presence practice that you do daily that seems very simple, but has been very helpful. Different methods in there that help you to stay grounded, help you to stay focused and present in the moment. And I still do those. One of them, the shaking, is shaking of your body that really kind of like lets you let go of any energy that you don't want to hold on to and really helps you to feel lighter. I do that every day to this day. So, yeah, I would say I got so much out of it. The practices, getting to know myself on a deeper level, finding out my soul purpose, and I got very close with my guides. I developed a deeper connection and relationship to my guides, which was wonderful, and then learned how to give readings to others, Akashic Records readings, which I hadn't done to that point. I was very much a meditator all those years before I met you, for about maybe 7 years before we met. So I was very familiar and comfortable meditating, and I would get guidance for myself, but I learned how to get guidance for others. And that was a huge gift because I'm still doing that today. I give Akashic Records readings for other people, and I can't even describe to you how um, amazing I feel while I'm doing it, when I'm done doing it. It's been the most incredible journey I've been on, I think, ever. It's just been beautiful. So, yeah, I would say there's a lot of gifts in the training, probably innumerable, but those are probably the ones that stand out.
Thank you so much. Those are some big ones. And I'm just remembering, I think one of our first calls when we met, and I was affirming to you, I think even in our reading around how you're so intuitive and psychic and have different abilities. And did you always feel intuitive your whole life, or what's been your evolution with your intuitive abilities and gifts? What's that been like?
I would say I had glimpses growing up. I would feel things here and there, and I thought, is everyone else feeling this? But it was very subtle. And I had a lot going on as a child, as we all usually do. There's things, dynamics in the house where um, I think I was hyper focused on those. And so I had glimpses, but it wasn't until I started meditating. When I started my meditation practice, it first started as more of maybe me praying. And then at some point I realized, okay, I'm getting answers back. Um, I'm not only praying, but I'm hearing things, I'm feeling things, and then eventually seeing things in my mind's eye. And that's when I realized, okay, there might be something going on here.
Mm-hmm,
And it always was of the highest good. I always felt so beautiful and filled with light. So I knew it was something I wanted to explore. And I just went off of how I felt when I would get this guidance or things would come in, answers would come in. I always felt so full of love and light. And so I thought, okay, this is the most beautiful gift. This is something I want to deepen and find out more about.
mm-hmm. Do you remember any like particular moments in our training journey, the first training or the second or whenever, when there was a turning point, there was a pivotal moment where you really got, a lot of people I've worked with over the years, they have that moment where they see, oh my gosh, this is real. And I'm really seeing I'm something unlocked, something else is here, and this is real. And do you remember a moment like that for you?
I do. It was when I did a reading for you as part of our training. And that was the first time. And I was so nervous. I was like, no, I don't think anything's going to come in. I don't know about this. And so I was very nervous going into it. And luckily you were very easygoing and relaxed and you facilitated and guided it. But when answers started coming in and you confirmed them, I remember, I'm trying to think back on that reading, and I remember something about like you were going to be having a retreat and it was going to be involving the beach and dancing. And I didn't know any of that at the time. And so in my mind, I was seeing the beach, dancing, drums, and you were going, yep, that's coming up in my retreat soon. And that was my aha moment. I was like, oh my
Mm,
gosh, I just did this for somebody else. I've done it for myself for quite a while, but now I did it for somebody else. Like I'm actually communicating, with your guides, your angels. And it was like, you
mm,
know,
mm.
it was cool. I think I was a little rattled after that, kind of like didn't know what to say after that call. Like, whoa, what to say? But yeah, that was a big turning point for me. And
Mm,
as after that, my skills developed further, obviously, and more started coming in with each client, or each friend that I would do a reading for. But that I think was my turning point of like, wow, this is something that I
mm,
can do and
mhm,
help people.
mhm. Was any part of our work really hard, really challenging, or just like really surprised you in what it was asking of you?
I would say no, not hard. Definitely a time commitment. So you want to make sure to schedule your time. But no, I wouldn't say it was hard. I just felt like it was just right. It was challenging enough to where it wasn't, nobody was getting bored. Um, we would spark up conversations with each other, me and the other people in the course. And, hey, did you do this yet? And how did it work for you? And that was cool, because we all got to
Mm,
communicate about our experience together. Um, but no, I wouldn't say hard. I would just say, obviously it's a commitment and which it should
mm,
be.
mm,
I didn't want something that was quick and easy and done within a few days because then it wouldn't be as much of value. I really wanted to learn and go deep.
mm,
So yeah, I thought it was wonderful. I would say
mm,
the second time around, a bigger group. Oh my gosh. I like the intimate group as well. Now I've got a feel for both, but with this bigger group, oh my goodness, we've all kept in touch. We all do readings for each other, which has been
mm,
such a gift. I mean, it's to the point where I'll be struggling with something. And if I'm having a hard time getting the answer because I'm so connected to the outcome, I'll
mm.
just text or send a message to one of the friends in the group and okay, I'll do a reading for you today. And we'll do a reading on Zoom. And then it's like, okay, cool. When can I do one for you? And we just swap services and we help each other out. And it's been literally a godsend. It's been wonderful.
Aw. Just like breathing into the love and the generosity and the connection and the beauty. And everybody is all over the world. They're all in different little portals all over the planet. And it's such a gift to be able to tune in to this resource that we all share. And for ourselves, as you said, I love that reflection of learning to really, tap in for yourself more in a deeper way, having more ability to do that and to really trust the answers and guidance that you're getting. And then, Jill, I've just gotten the most incredible celebrations from our group about their readings with you and how you bring in, you have this really strong connection to the angels, right? Which we all have different connections and capacities and consciousness that we really resonate with. And what's that journey been like for you, deepening with this angelic realm?
Oh, I can't even talk about it without smiling. It's very hard to describe in words, but just to kind of give you an example of a typical reading, I will sit down and um, I'll get focused before the reading and tune in a little bit. And then I'll have the other person on Zoom with me usually. I've done some in-person ones, but more on Zoom. And what I'll do is we'll do some breathing together first. I'll guide them through some breathing. And then we do a guided meditation. And that's usually when well, sometimes it's during the breathing right away. I'll feel the angels coming through, but during the guided meditation, for sure, I start feeling that the energy, and it's like the most beautiful energy you can ever imagine. It just feels like pure love shooting through my body.
Mm.
And it's just, I can't imagine anything any better. And then once we've done the guided meditation, both of us are in that really calm, relaxed zone, tuned in with ourselves, tuned in with our souls and with our guides, our angels. Then things start coming in, and I just relay that to the other person. And throughout the session, usually that feeling stays. And uh, yeah, it's hard to describe. And then at certain times during the session, I'll feel these full body chills. I'll feel just this like I start crying at times because this beautiful light comes in
Mm.
and it's so much. And so yeah, it's great. And it's usually on both ends, which is even better because I feel like, wow, I'm really able to help someone by just transferring this information. And I feel so fortunate to be able to do that, to have somebody like meet with me for an hour and then feel better afterward. It's just,
Mm.
it's a feeling that is hard to describe, you know?
Mm. I know.
You know.
You described it really well. Well, and I wonder, what's your feeling on the evolution of what you've been seeing? I've shared a little bit about in our sessions and training, and I've just been feeling the evolution of this even this body of work known as the Akashic Records. It's evolving, it's changing, as our planet is evolving and consciousness is expanding. We are being gifted with reminders of different types of access and abilities that we've always had, but we maybe weren't ready to fully explore or step into, until our frequency got to a certain point or we cultivated the energetic stability to be able to really integrate higher dimensional information, more consistently. And so I've actually been finding, my guidance lately has been to no longer even really use the term Akashic Records. It's a bit of an outdated term now, given the energies we have access to, which are much more expansive and coming from the future and different universes. And whereas a lot of the references of the Akashic records on this plane and this planet are very limited by comparison, limited to the records of Earth, history of only this, planetary system. Yeah, and for some reason on my soul path, it's part of my journey to explore, what is the articulation? To be in integrity with, what is it we're really doing here? What is the energy we're really working with? How are we really serving? What are we really facilitating? It's beyond the Akashic records. It's something else. And the closest I found in words in English, which is really limiting, is soul sourcing, which is creating a space in which someone can access their own source very clearly, can access their own soul guidance, can access their own soul memory, and from there really understand their desires, understand themselves, understand their direction, their path, their choices in this life. And I'm curious, yeah, just if you have anything to add to that, or just if you've noticed even in your immersion in this field in the last few years, like how energies have shifted, how your access has shifted, what has changed?
Well, a lot, really. And I would agree with you that it feels like words are inadequate to describe the work. When I try to really sit down and think about it, what are we connecting to? What is happening? The best way I can describe it, just connecting with all that is. And that is multidimensional. I feel like there's so many avenues now. And I feel like um, telepathy is increasing, word exchanges are increasing, and things are shifting in quite a significant way. Um, and I know at one point you had said something about like, I feel like words are just not enough. And I resonated with that because it does appear that things are going that way. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, it's been interesting. This wave of energy coming through really has
Mm.
shaken things up a bit and things have evolved. Um, I would say, in terms of my readings, I'm able to access things quite a lot faster, a lot deeper than before. Been
Mhm.
a lot more present within myself in order to assimilate all of
Mhm.
these new energies. And, you really have to practice good energetic hygiene as well to be able to take in this new higher frequency energy and
Mhm.
then apply it and use it for the highest good.
Mhm. Mhm. Beautiful. Yeah, so good to hear. I think something that I'd love your thoughts on this, but just looking back, reflecting on my journey with this work, starting to mentor people in 2016 when I was just offering readings and people started coming to me asking me to learn how do I do what I do. They wanted to learn how to do it in their way. And then years templating that, then getting the guidance to create an official training in 2020, having people come out of nowhere to just, create this space. And all the meanwhile, templating. What are we really doing here? What's really happening? Coming together in these really strong group fields that can stabilize very high energies that then end up being healing, so healing for the collective, well, for the planet, but for our group, right? And really doing DNA level healing, cellular healing, helping to support embodiment. And a core fabric of the work I've always offered, even one-on-one and in the training, has always been about like we build the healthy nervous system, we build the healthy body, doing different stabilizing practices, doing the presence practice, doing the daily protocols to create the space, the capacity within to orient and so much more energy, information, insight, clarity, confidence, power, really power on all levels. And I don't know if I conveyed that as clearly as I could in some of the looking back over how the invitation has been shared. It's like this is a facilitator training, and Akashic records is like a buzzy word that people feel attracted to, or they feel that soul memory with, like I did when I first began. Like, oh, what is that? I remember that somehow. But then they get into the training, and so many people reflect to me, oh my gosh, I had no idea. This is like an embodiment accelerator. I had no idea this was going to heal my nervous system. I had no idea I was going to heal my self-worth. I had no idea I was going to step into this confidence and power that I always wanted, but I never even knew I had within me. And just all of these other things, right? I've had reflected so many ways and so many times. But it almost feels like it's still a little bit of a surprise, or maybe a part of me like I feel protective over like leading with that. Like I don't want to scare people away or something. But the right people are always seeking that, like you said, they want the depth. They want the real depth. They want to go all the way. This is a soul initiation. So I'd love your thoughts on that, or just your experience kind of coming into, first check out the program and then what it was really like going through it afterwards. Anything to add.
Yeah, I would completely agree with all of that because I was one who entered in thinking, okay, I'm going to learn how to read the Akashic records of other people. And that was it. And I was so excited about it. I mean, that was enough. That
That's
was
enough.
more than enough for me. I was like blown away, like, yes, I'm in, and I was over the moon about it. But like you said, then these other elements started coming into play that I didn't realize were part of the experience. And it was just added blessings. You know, gosh, I mean, that program really got me to go deep within myself. And I had to heal some things that I had been stuffing for quite a while in order to continue forward. And it wasn't easy at times. You have to look at parts of you that have been unhealed or ignored. But it was, it was a hidden blessing, I would say, of the experience of the training. And that ended up being the main component, the thing that probably helped me the most, even above learning how to read the records of others and how to help others, was going into myself and being able to find my true self, to figure out my soul purpose, to clear myself of things that needed to be cleared.
Mm.
And in order to help others, you have to do that first, right? But when you go into it, you're not thinking that. You're just thinking of the outcome and what's going to come out of this. And I'm so excited. I want to help people. But really, you have to be energetically clear yourself in order to
Mhm.
help others in the most efficient way. So, yeah,
Mm.
that was a big component of the training. And shoot, like I said, mine might have been an extreme experience, but I ended up, finally leaving my career and getting into one that I love so much more now that is different. I mean, I love the old one too. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed teaching, but I knew there was more. And it was like something I had kept ignoring, kept ignoring, kept ignoring. And then when we did our training, I was forced to sit with myself and to go deep, and I couldn't ignore it anymore. Same with my marriage. I knew we had problems, but I was just kind of looking the other way, distracting myself, distracting myself, distracting. And during the training, you can't distract because you have to sit and you have to look within. And I was so grateful that I finally did that because I had been putting it off for so long. So yeah, that's a big component of it. Huge, huge.
And you're so brave for listening. And look at what happened. I mean, such a transformation in your whole life and your whole world, and internally, externally, on all levels. And now serving this beautiful mission in schools, supporting children, really helping them develop capacity. Kind of in some of the ways we just talked about, like helping them so young develop these capacities to regulate their nervous system, to feel connected to themselves. Like, what a gift. And then offering your support, your services, your guidance in beautiful ways. Yeah, I'd love to know of any specific ways that for anyone listening who's considering the training, or, just exploring more intuitive development, working with either of us. What are some of the ways that you support people today, and how can people learn more?
Well, I'm very fortunate that I get to do both. So when I'm at my job with the kids and we're doing, let's say I actually do guided meditations with them, which have been beautiful and they need it. They really need it. Everybody needs it nowadays. It's just there's so much going on in the world, and a lot of these kids have anxiety. They don't sleep very well. And they're in elementary school and they're already having sleep problems and issues with focus. So being able to create a space for them where they can just be has been, I mean, I get tingles just thinking about it, has been beautiful. And we'll have guided meditation sometimes. And I allow the kids to travel wherever they want in their mind. And I facilitate, and it's really fun. It's kid centered, but there's been experiences where we share afterward, and some of the kids have shared that they saw a past loved one in their experience, and they've got this big
Wow.
smile. Yeah, they've got this big smile. I saw my
Mm.
grandma, and she died a few years ago, and it's like this beautiful
Oh.
couple have teared up, and I feel like being able
Mm.
to hold that space for them has been life changing, and they've given really good feedback. Their parents, the teachers, the kids, really good feedback on my program, and
Mm.
that's something I don't think I had the confidence to do in the past. I just
Mm.
kind of wanted to keep doing what I was doing because it was easy. I was kind of on autopilot. And to be able to go out and create that and then bring it back and teach it in my old environment where I used to teach has been just the biggest gift.
Oh.
And I couldn't have done that if I didn't embody that sense of, my own power, my own strength, what I had to offer. I think I was a little bit insecure prior to the program. And so that kind of gave me that boost to be able to say, hey, I can do this and I can do it well, and then I do the records readings on the side and get just as much out of those. It's just the only difference is it's with adults instead of kids. And it's just creating that space, allowing the person time to receive, because so many of us are giving, giving, giving. So when I start our meditation together, I'll tell them this is a gift for you to just simply receive. So just
Mm.
sit back and breathe and receive. And that's the biggest gift of all, I think, because as humans, I know it, we get so busy taking care of everything, everybody, that we don't take a lot of time to receive. And so that has been a big blessing as well, just being able to offer that gift to somebody else, for them to receive, for them to feel that angelic love, for them to come out of it thinking, wow, I am really special, because that's what happens every time.
Mm.
I'll give a reading to somebody, and at the end, they feel
Mm.
empowered. They feel they remember their gifts, and it's like, I can't really say enough about it. It's just been awesome.
I love that feeling. Just to remember we are so loved, really. That's a lot of, you're reminding me of frequently in the beginning of our journey and the training and kind of the initiation, people will report a feeling of overwhelm at first, right? To feel um, such love, such unconditional love. And this is what
Yeah.
we build a capacity for, to be able to stabilize and sustain presence within that kind of a field. And it is such a bright light that illuminates all density and distortion within us that then must be brought up to feel, to heal, to integrate. But that's what it's all about. It's like remembering our source, remembering who we really are and where we come from, which is love, which is pure, again, no words, but the best word maybe we have: love, source, God, presence, all, and that we're all connected in this way. We see through the noise. My favorite thing about this modality, this exploration that we share of just, sharing presence, connecting to source, connecting to the records, if that's the modality on offer to explore. It's like it's all here to help us see above the noise, right? The noise of the human personality and the drama and the story and the attachments and what we think needs to happen and our controlled sense of reality and our identities. And instead open to seeing this higher perspective, this different perspective, more clear, calm, present perspective of what's really happening here. Everything's a lesson. So what are you learning? How are you growing? How can you learn? How can you grow? What are your choices? What are the choices you might not be able to see when you're so close to these dramas, are so wrapped up in survival or fear? What's actually something new that can be felt with more expansion? There's more choice, there's more freedom, there's more empowerment. Each and every one of us, we all have more choice, more freedom, more empowerment because we're held with more love. And then we can feel ourselves. Oh, wow, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. You can't even do anything wrong if you tried, right? I remember in my early journey learning about my guides and support and just crying so much. So many of my early sessions were just crying, crying to release the fear, the anxiety, the pain, the unworthiness, the shame. Oh my God, I'm loved. I'm cared for. There's nothing I even need to do. Just by being alive, I'm enough. I'm here. I'm loved. I'm guided. I'm not alone. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in. And I think of the state of humanity right now and just how much is going on in the world and how many different layers everyone is moving through and this opportunity, this grand opportunity we all have to rise, to expand, to remember, to return home, to heaven on earth. Been here all along. It's in the present moment, to sustain in that, to lead the way into that. And yeah, so this energy that we're speaking to, that we're sharing, that we're holding, kind of we're being pillars for, it's just like this is such a key. I found this is such a key to freedom that I feel so many are craving, are searching for, are yearning for. And it also is, it requires responsibility as well, that not everyone's really ready for. But at a certain point in the journey, you see that's what it takes. It's responsibility, it's commitment, it's really doing the deeper embodiment process, healing of the nervous system, being brave, being courageous to really meet yourself. It can be so terrifying. We're so afraid of our own power, and there's a graceful way to go through that path and to meet oneself. It doesn't have to be so painful and arduous. And it can be with support and with community. As you said, I love that reflection. And Bill, I just love you so much. I'm so honored to meet you in this life again. I know we've been together before many times, and it's a feeling of reuniting and just remembering and reminding each other why we're here, what we're here for, what we know is possible. And I just want to commend you for doing this work, with yourself, with others, for being such a light, for being a beautiful embodied example, for showing up, because it hasn't been easy. You've really faced some very deep, dark depths. It's a lot. You have gone through so much, and you have family, children, you've navigated some huge transitions. And you're so brave, and I really commend your courage. And I want to acknowledge you for the path that you walk and the example you are. And I'm just so honored to know you in this life and to create with you. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. And I am feel very blessed to have met you. And I want to thank you for your guidance and for bringing me and my soul group all together and really just changing my life. So I owe you quite a bit, I think.
Oh, I love you, sister. It feels like we're just getting started, you know. We've talked before about these visions of the new schools, and you're doing it. You're building the new school. It's happening right now, easier than we thought. You know, it's not requiring building a whole new system, a whole new thing, and but yet maybe someday we'll have a different school where we're teaching soul sourcing, Akashic records, energy healing, Reiki attunements, like just full on. You know, I don't know if we're that far away from that. It's fun to imagine.
It is. I agree.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Jill. It's such an honor to be with you. And yeah, until next time, I love you all. Thank you for listening. Those who have tuned in and shared with us, we'll include some links below for ways to connect with both of us to learn more about our different offerings and also the training. And so honored to share with you today. Thank you.